Well, guys, today we're going to cover a little segment from GB News recently that descended into complete chaos, with one die-hard farmer whore doing his best to defend lockdowns and mass jabbing that he helped take part in. This pillock here is called Kevin Craig, a businessman and signed-up Labour twat, having worked at their party HQ in 2001. Oh, and he failed to get elected for them in 2005 also. Now, the fact that he supports Labour is actually where it starts with him moaning about NHS funding after the host said this.
We took the NHS, the National Health Service, we reduced it into the National COVID-only service, and I think it was that, which, by the way, was done apparently to protect the NHS, that didn't protect the NHS. That's pushed the NHS to within an inch of its life. People didn't go get help. You can't get into a GP for love nor money. So people use A&E now like some glorified doctor's surgery. Okay. And that was responsible.
Now, she is right there. The NHS did become the CHS, and that caused the current disaster it finds itself in. Yes, the NHS was always in a bad way thanks to immigration, but bat flu sent it over the edge. This tosspot here, though, thinks it's all about money. Take a listen.
You're attributing, you're not agreeing with my point that it's about money. Well, I hate to introduce data and facts into NHS debates, OK? Over time, OK, spending on the NHS has not under this government gone up in the way that it did under Labour. And money, spending under Labour rose in real terms. It's all boring data. It's not happened since. And COVID-19, OK, there was a pandemic. People were dying. We didn't have vaccines, which is why the situation is much different now. And at the time, we had a national emergency. Us three, one here, two over there, have such vastly different views on how this should have been handled. We could talk about that alone all night.
Now, I want you to remember him saying he'll introduce facts and data because he quickly drops that later, as we will see. Oh, and his facts and data are bloody tripe anyway, let's be real. The NHS funding has gone up and gone up massively, as I've actually covered before. 115 billion, 256 in 8 years is going up the last time I checked. But you know what, I'm not here to defend the government, I'm here to trash his crap, so let's move on to hear his vastly different views on bat flu.
I think we were late into declaring lockdowns. I think we've come through in the end. I think our NHS workers did an amazing job. I don't minimise the reactions that some people have had to vaccines, but it was necessary. It was necessary to ultimately save lives.
Look.
So there you hear it, and in 2023, someone actually still thinks we were late to lock down, clearly saying he thinks we should have locked down earlier and for longer, despite the evidence showing that lockdowns are killing people and will for years to come. This is now not even up for debate, as excess deaths in the UK versus Sweden currently show us. Sweden sits near the bottom for excess deaths, while us and other lockdown-using countries face week after week of excess deaths thanks to lockdown. Now, though, I want you to remember his little statement there, saying he won't minimise the damage done to people who took the jab, because he soon does minimise it, if you ask me.
Looking at what's actually happening in other countries, though, I don't think that makes sense at all in regards to lockdowns.
Well,
even looking at China, for example, you know, their population is, what is it, like 89% vaccinated? They had the masks, they had the lockdowns, and look what's happening there. The idea
China's 89% vaccinated. Are you serious?
Yeah, if you look at
the population of China.
Yeah, if you look online and look at the culture of China in itself, run by the CCP. There is no way that people there wouldn't accept a vaccine.
China is an absolute, it's a basket case when it comes to COVID. So we could do a whole episode.
No, I don't think that's a valid criticism of it, because we use China as a blueprint for implementing lockdowns here.
No one here is using.
So don't poo-poo China when we copied them.
So in that, once again, Dominique Samuels is completely correct in literally all that she says, even if I wouldn't have used China as an example myself. She is right that they have like 90% jab uptake with masks and lockdowns that still have not stopped Jack, given what's going on over there right now. This, you can see in the clip, is really hurting his feelings, and I think it's this that really sets him off, as you will see. I mean, the second she points out we followed China with lockdown lunacy, this pro-lockdown nut gets really arsey about it, so let's move on to see that.
China, no one's talking about China. You constantly, I've looked at your Twitter feed, you've been banging on, for such a long time that you think lockdowns were a total disaster.
Well, I don't think I know, because when you actually look at case studies of other countries...
You're not a medical expert. What do you know?
The idea that... no, no, you don't know.
No, but
The
I
idea
don't
that
know.
I need to be a doctor or an expert to look at what's actually
don't know, you
happened,
think, do you?
which is that lockdowns have had no impact on saving people's lives. In fact, Chris Whitty has even admitted now that more people are dying than they were at the height of the pandemic because of the after effects of lockdowns. That is factually why more people are dying in the NHS right now, because lockdowns didn't work. They don't work.
Well, I
and the
think they
idea,
did. I think
no,
they saved
you can't
lives.
think they did
I
when
can think
Sweden,
that.
who
I don't
didn't
know
implement
it. I can
lockdowns,
think it.
have the
You can
lowest
think something, but
excess
you
death
can't know
tally,
it. You
one of the
don't
lowest
know.
excess death tallies
You
in the world.
don't know that lockdowns
Well, I can
did
look
work.
at the
You can think
evidence.
it.
I can look at the
I
evidence.
think that lockdowns did work.
I can
and
look at the
look
evidence.
all the medical experts, and I'm just...
Well, that went south real fast, but did you notice how quickly he dropped facts and figures to focus on what he thinks? Because I bloody did. In that you hear him trying to rubbish what she is saying because he thinks that lockdowns work. This, as I've said, and you all know, is not the case, and Dominique Samuels even stated that. You heard her state that Chris Whitty has now admitted that lockdowns are killing more people now than bat flu did in 2020. The BMJ Lancet and all that have got peer-reviewed studies showing that lockdowns didn't work and actually did more harm than good. This idiot don't care about that because what he thinks is all that matters, as you heard him say. You can tell in this clip though that Dominique Samuels has got him on the ropes because she's using actual real data, not opinions like him. He claims she's not a medical expert, so can't say that lockdowns didn't work, but he fails to quote one medical expert or paper that states that they do. I would say she absolutely ripped him apart there, and this is actually proven by the next clip we got coming now.
Tired.
The
It's
medical-
New Year. I'm not
Oh my
going to
gosh.
listen anymore to
The
people
medical-
who deny that COVID-19 didn't exist and that
Where
the
did I
NHS
say
wasn't on the edge of
COVID-19
collapse. We hear it
didn't
all the time.
exist?
We hear it all the
That's
time.
a leap that
And
you've
every time I hear
made.
it, no,
That's-
every
that's
time
a
I hear
leap
it
that
now, I'm
you've
going to speak
made.
out against it.
Yep, he knows he lost the argument, and so the only thing he can do now is try and discredit her by claiming she said it don't exist. This, as you know, is not something she said and proves he has nothing to refute what she's saying, and he really doesn't like it. He knows he's being destroyed with literal facts, and that clearly makes him angry, so the bullshit must come out in full flow. Next though, we move on to the jab, while remembering him saying earlier that he wouldn't belittle what happened to people who had bad reactions.
Well, I didn't say that though,
And
mate.
I've vaccinated people, right? I trained
Good
up
for
as a
you.
volunteer.
And good
Don't
for
be
you.
patronising,
I've spoken to people
okay?
that have had to have their legs amputated because of people like you pushing a vaccine.
What do you mean people like me? You're talking
People
about
like
doctors
you
and nurses.
pushing
and you're good
lockdowns,
for you.
pushing vaccines
No,
when they don't work, and they've ruined
the
people's
vaccines do
lives.
work. They save
They've
lives.
ruined people's lives.
They
There's no
save
empirical
lives.
evidence that they have, I'm
You know,
afraid.
this
but there's
is
empirical evidence
typical.
that they've maimed people
Say
and
something,
led to people
say something,
killing
don't
themselves
back it up
because of
with
being
facts.
ignored by people like you.
This is crazy, people like you.
It's not. It's not.
This is almost a conspiracy theory you're
It's not a
pumping out.
conspiracy theory.
Okay?
How
I worked
can-
in the
no,
NHS
I'm
as a
sorry.
volunteer.
How can people that have been to the doctors and had their and been medically recognised
New Year, I'm
as
not
being
listening to it.
as
No
being
way.
made disabled by the
How
vaccines
I
be
have
misinformation?
New Year.
That is disgusting, and you should be ashamed of
You
yourself.
should be ashamed
You
of
should be
yourself.
ashamed of
You
yourself.
should be ashamed.
You
Your
should be
views are a
ashamed of
disgrace.
yourself.
I'll tell you
You're
what
a
we're gonna do.
disgrace.
No, your views
You are a disgrace.
Your views are a
I've spoken to
disgrace.
people who've had their lives ruined by people like you. You should be ashamed.
Really?
Yeah, you should
Say
be
that to every
ashamed.
doctor and nurse. Is
Say
that who
that
you're
to every
talking
single
to?
person
Is that
who's
who you're
been
talking
injured
to?
by these
People
COVID-19 vaccines.
People
Speak
who
to Dr.
volunteered
Sima
as
Hotra.
vaccinators.
Pack it in you
I'm sorry, that is disgusting.
Time out.
You,
Right.
It's
right
vile.
there.
You're-
On
you
the
are
record, you're a
vile.
disgrace
You're
for
vile.
volunteering and
You are
helping
vile.
to vaccinate, save
You are
lives. You're a
vile.
disgrace.
Stop it. Right, everybody.
Well, it's safe to say the host lost all control there, and my God, was it funny. In it, you hear him promote the fact that he was a jabber, which Dominique Samuels really doesn't care about. Well, she don't, until he starts getting arsey with her, because she don't care. She is only pointing out that lockdowns, and in some cases, jabs have caused real damage to people, which he admitted earlier, you know, when claiming not to belittle them. This was obviously before he got angry and started sitting there belittling those who did suffer adverse effects of the jab while attacking her. Dominique Samuels is merely pointing out that some who got the jab have been injured and ignored by people pushing the jab, which is now common knowledge, but he calls it a conspiracy theory. She is not saying the jab kills everyone or even hurts everyone, but in his mind any attack on it is an attack on him because, like I said, he pushed it. The end there is just a screaming match, calling each other disgusting and that, which is bloody funny, but didn't really get us anywhere. I would say that Dominique Samuels came out of that little exchange better than he did, because she actually used real data and not just what she thinks to make her argument. The fact he tried to say that she said things she didn't is proof that he was struggling early on, and by the end of it he had nothing but smears to go on, you know, the usual media sort of shit. This, I think, we'll actually see more and more of as time goes on, because they're so stuck in their ways that being proven wrong hurts their pride and of course their fee-fees. Most people don't like to be told that they got duped, and this tit is literally more proof of that if you ask me. Or maybe he's worried he could get blamed for any damage that was done. Either way, he looks like a bit of a tit after this, but let me know what you think in the comments below.